It is time for our weekly Rants and Raves, starting with you, Kelly.
Well, I don't know if mine's a rant or a rave. It's kind of an observation. Brian Stelter, another one of these interesting bloggers that was doing his thing by himself, and then you mentioned him earlier. The Times acquired him or brought him over to do media criticism. He's a very good media critic. He's going to be sitting in the chair that Howie Kurtz had. They've been rotating folks in and out. Kind of an audition, they say, to be host. And the problem is that because he's a very good critic.
Host of Reliable Sources.
A host of Reliable Sources, just a tryout thing. He can't cover Fox or MSNBC. So that something's happening. You need to cover them at the time that you're sitting in the chair. That seems weird. On the other hand, he is very knowledgeable about the business, so I'd be interested to see what his take would be and how he would interview folks who would be on the show. Full disclosure, I'm often on the show, but I just think it's a kind of I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. He says he would never leave the Times to go to a TV job, so it's just a kind of I don't know what that means.
Wait till the checkbook comes out.
I would think the Times would be uncomfortable with him getting it permanently. Yeah. I mean, the Washington Post put up with a lot over the years with Howard Kurtz holding that position and being in a perceived conflict of interest.
With the Washington Post and CNN.
That's right.
All right, Josh, what do you got?
Google this week announced a new gadget called the Chromecast, which is a small stick-like device that you put into your television and enables you to take any video that you have playing on your phone or your tablet and to essentially zip it up to your television. What's interesting about this is that it's $35. This kind of technology exists in a lot of ways, but it's been something that started out as $300, then $100, and now it's $35. And this is either a rant or a rave, depending where you sit. It's a rant if you work in the existing television business and you're worried about disruption, the same thing that came to newspapers coming to television, because getting onto a tablet or getting onto a phone is a hell of a lot cheaper than getting onto a cable box. And as soon as your exclusivity in the cable box goes away, then you end up really messing with the economics of television. The rave is that this sort of technology, which is useful and enjoyable and people will enjoy using, is now available for the price of a couple large pizzas. And I think that's a direct. In 2 years, that's going to be free. It's going to be available on everybody's television set, and it's really going to change the model.
All right, All right, Dan.
I have a rant for a newspaper in Wisconsin, the Janesville Gazette, which this week obtained a list of people that the local police department had identified as problem drinkers who should not be identified, who should not be served at local pubs and bars and the like. The police may have had their reasons. I mean, these were people who'd had repeated encounters with law enforcement over their drinking. But the paper looked at it and said, well, this is a public record. The editor said, we really couldn't think of a reason not to run it. So they run the list of people on the front page. It's just shaming for no reason. And it kind of plays into something that actually ran on Josh's site, the Neiman Journalism Lab, recently, about this problem with some public records suddenly being too ubiquitous. And when journalists abuse public records like this, it can lead to records being not public anymore. Laws are passed, and suddenly these records aren't available. Awful, awful decision.
Agree with that. Marjorie, you got a good one.
I do. I have a rave for the August 5th cover of The New Yorker. I think we can see it on the screen up here in a second, and you can get it online. Even though the magazine is not out. That, of course, is Congressman Anthony Weiner, former Congressman, that's right, and the artist John Cuneo, I think that's how I pronounce it. I love it. In his left hand, of course, the ex-congressman has the camera, and he has changed the top of the Empire State Building and replaced it with something that's more in line with what Weiner seems to be generally interested in. And I just think it's brilliant, and it just makes him look so foolish. And
it's a great cartoon that looks exactly like him.
It looks, and the expression on his face is just wonderful.
Yeah. So, what's the betting on how long he'll stay in the mayor's race?
I don't know. I almost think he's going to be forced out. I think he might just. I think he enjoys this. There's something.
Yeah, but this is just.
And I think he's going to. His wife or someone's going to. I think he'll stay forever.
I agree.
All right.
I think he sees a void in the top leadership of the race because Christine Quinn is not popular.
She's
so
not.
I think until he is completely convinced there's no opportunity.
Yeah, the polls
he's just so well liked.
The polls have changed. She's going up. Yeah. Okay.
Well. All right. Finally tonight, I have a rave for my dear friend and former colleague, Susan Warnick at Channel 5. Susan announced that she's going to be leaving the station, not retiring. She made that very clear. She's going to be doing something else, but she's leaving Channel 5 after 33 years. I was one of the ones who hired her, along with Jim Thistle, Phil Balboni. She worked with us. Susan is one of the most talented ad-lib people I have ever worked with in my life, right up there with Peter Jennings. Susan can do it, and it doesn't matter what the subject is. She can go on and on and on for hours. She did it the other day during the Aaron Hernandez when they were looking for him, and it was just remarkable. She's got quite a gift. She's a talented woman, and we'll be hanging out soon, Susan. All right. That is it for Beat the Press. Are you like Marjorie Egan and couldn't get enough of the royal baby, or like me, ho-hum? Tell us what you think at beatthepress.org. Monday on Greater Boston. No longer cut off from the rest of the city, Boston's North End now hardly represents the little Italy it once was. We look at the changing neighborhood. That and more Monday at 7 on Emily Rooney. Thanks for watching.